Oh, hello there. My name is Allie Benedict. I am with Forest View Hospital, and here I am today with Kirsten, and I'll let her quick introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Kirsten Rahn. I am a limited license master social worker with Life Support LLC, which is a private practice outpatient mental health agency.
Yes, so today Kirsten and I are going to be talking about a common topic this time of year. Most people around the turn of the new year start to think about goals, things that they want to achieve this year. And we just wanted to dive into that and how that can positively or negatively affect your mental health in ways that you can make goal setting a good thing for you.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of times, new year, new you, that's the whole sentiment, right? Um, but really it doesn't have to it first of all, like, yes, just because it's January 1 doesn't mean that that has to be a start date or a change date or whatever. Really, any single day of the year can be your day one for something that you want to for a goal that you want to work towards accomplishing, first of all. So, but there's a lot of different goals out there, right? Like, we hear all about like keeping connected with other
Yeah.
people and weight loss, especially at the beginning of the year, right? Saving money, getting organized. I don't know. I binged that whole like home edit Netflix show. I don't know about you.
Well, I haven't yet, but yeah,
But
yeah, connectedness or
mhm,
yeah, financial security. Um,
yeah. So I think um the way that we could make this conversation a little bit different than others than you're hearing this time of year, like radio commercials, TV commercials, all of that, is really um, talking about them in a way that sets up the mindset of what they are, what they are not, what it is that you want to accomplish, and kind of a framework that people can use to set those goals and help them meet them without feeling um, getting like down in the dumps about it or feeling
yeah,
like they failed all of that stuff, and doing so in a healthy, helpful way instead of an unhelpful or unhealthy way.
yes, yeah, I love that. So one of the things that I've definitely heard of when it comes to goal setting is that they should be SMART goals. So do you want to kind of run through what a SMART goal, what
Yeah,
that really stands
too.
for?
Yeah, so SMART goals are something that across many different industries we use the acronym SMART when we're setting goals, and it stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So starting with specific, that means we're like, okay, what are the details? What's the what, who, when, how, where, like all of that. And then measurable. So it's like, how am I going to track this? So, or the bigger question of like, how do I know that I'm like having small successes along the way? Like, what are my markers here?
Oh yeah, I think those small successes along the way definitely help with encouraging you to keep
Yeah,
going.
definitely.
It
Because
doesn't have to be one big all at once.
yes, that's what I was gonna say. Because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I want to like have 5 new friends this year if we're talking about the connected one or like whatever, and they make it this big huge broad thing when really it's like, okay, so you want to make 5 new friends this year, that's wonderful, but why do you want to make 5 new friends? What is behind that? And that's where the specifics and the measurability come in, because maybe it's like, oh, I'm feeling disconnected from other people, and I know that I feel better if I at least text someone every day.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you're going to make a little chart with tick marks for every day, be like, had a meaningful text conversation with one person.
Right. Right.
Like check, like, so
That's an
it's more,
attainable piece, that
yeah, so
A and
breaking it down.
yeah.
Mhm. And so the A is attainable, right? Like that's attainable is being able to spend 5 minutes on a text conversation, 10 minutes, however much time you want to devote to it every day to get your little tick mark in your tracker. So it's not like you're, otherwise, if we don't break it down that way, it can feel like we're spending all of our time all the time working towards this goal. And that's not realistic, which is R, it's not attainable or realistic, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that like attainable, is it even possible? And that realistic, like, okay, what other things do I have going on in my life
Mhm. Yeah.
that are also important that I
Yeah.
can't stop doing just to work on this goal? Like, I've got work from 8 to 5 every day. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna stop doing that to obtain this other personal goal. It has to work with, it has to be symbiotic with everything else in life, right?
Yeah.
And then,
And
oh
final is the time bound
yeah,
with our SMART goals. So thinking that, oh, I'm going to have $500 saved up by the end of this week. That's not a, that's a good time bound, but again, the realistic part of that. So yeah.
yeah, exactly. So like setting realistic, and the time is important though because it gives you a good way to set that accountability, the attainable and those measurable aspects too.
Yeah.
So if it's too far out in the future, then we might not have a sense of urgency to get to it right away.
Yeah.
But if it's too close, then it like might take over other things, and won't fit in realistically or attainably in with what you have going on in life right now.
So that is a good basis with these SMART goals. Those kind of 5 things all work together nicely as a way to kind of start your goals. But I think, like you had briefly mentioned, was the bigger thing that really drives a goal. What kind of mindset? How you? What's your deeper purpose, or why? Why do you want to be more organized, or why do you want to um, lose this weight? Is it your self body image? Kind of what that is, that deeper why?
Yeah, and being able to identify that why can be really helpful when maybe something doesn't go as planned as we're working towards our goal. Like
Mhm.
when we start planning a goal, we get all of our smart aspects down. We wrote down all the specifics and we have our tracker and everything. Sometimes things happen in the journey. You might be trying to run a half marathon or something, training, and you get injured,
Mhm.
or a family member gets sick and we have to take care of them, and other things in life come up. We're trying to we're trying to get that savings goal of $500 set aside, right? So we can have something to fall back on in case of an emergency.
Mhm.
But we might lose our job. Like things happen in life. And so keeping that mindset of like, okay, why do I have this goal? What is it in there that's important to me? So maybe that saving for $500 is because sometime before we had an emergency and we couldn't find the money to cover it and we had to borrow, and we didn't want to have to borrow money.
Right.
So now we want to set ourselves up to be successful and have savings.
Yeah.
So, and that's a great goal. And remembering that when things happen that might delay us in our goal, that's okay because we have these smart aspects that we can fall back on and rewrite. Be like, okay, so I was setting $20 aside every week. Well, now I can set $10 aside every week, and I'm still working on it, and it's still realistic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, um,
Because sometimes we do just want to go out and get a hot chocolate with a friend, and that's okay. Like life can happen, and you might not be able to put that $20 aside. You might just be able to put in 10, but at least you're still working towards it. And that's a good way, I think, to look at it. That so you're not doing exactly as you said, you can always adjust.
Yes, always adjust and being flexible is something we've all learned very well this year during the COVID-19,
Oh
but
my goodness.
it can be really tiring to always be flexible, right?
Yeah.
So knowing the long-term goal and having the mindset of like, okay, why am I doing this? Instead of getting so caught up in the details and keeping yourself so strictly adhered to everything that I said I would do, it's okay to let that go sometimes and know that even a little bit is still working towards.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That resilience that you have to have in order to, um, like you said, keep working towards your goal and keep reminding yourself of that deeper why and maintaining a positive mindset instead of maybe a more negative if you do happen to fall behind.
Yeah. And a great way to do that too is by having an accountability partner. So that is another person in your life that you're like, hey, I'm working on this goal. Here's how I plan to do it. And by this time, and they go, oh, cool. And you go, hey, would you mind keeping me accountable? Like maybe every week when we talk or every, couple weeks, just ask me about how it's going.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that having a friend keep you, although they you might not want that, say, in a couple of months, you might be like, why did I ask them to do that?
Mhm.
It does ultimately help you because they're not trying to nag. Well, if you have an accountability coach, it's more so just you set a goal for a reason and that person's just trying to help you. So yeah, having that accountability coach can sometimes be nice, or not coach, accountability partner can be like a good thing. Well, I guess they could coach you.
Yeah.
Depends.
In theory, though, too, it is nice. Maybe they have something too that they're working on, so you can like be each other's accountability
Yeah,
partner. So
yeah,
that you, while they're being annoying to you, asking you to check in about what you have or have not done, you can
right,
be annoying to them. So
right. Yeah, you can hold each other accountable. That's what that whole partnership is really about. That's definitely true.
yeah, yeah. Um, so I think one of the only parts we haven't talked about is like brainstorming, like how do I come up with a goal, right?
Yes,
How
yeah,
do I figure out what it is that I want? Or I have a feeling of what might want, but I have no idea like
right.
where I would even start.
Yeah,
Like, what do I even do?
yeah.
Um, so one of my favorite ways to brainstorm goals, I do this twice a year. Um, Not usually in January and then July, but like kind of 6 months apart from each other,
Yeah.
is I sit down with a pen and paper and I set a timer for 5 minutes and I brainstorm like 3 months, 6 months, a year, and or 3 years and lifetime. And
Okay.
I just write. I set that timer for 5 minutes and I just like anything, if I could be anything, do anything, go anywhere, whatever in those different time frames, and I just write it all down.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say that I did steal this from Passion Planner. It's my favorite um, planner. This is not an ad. It's just one that I've used for years and years, and
Good for you. That's
it's
good.
a great planner. But anyway, that's in there, and I learned this from them, and I've used it I don't know, 5, 6 years now. And once the timer is done, you go through and you circle the things under each time frame, one thing under each time frame that you think would be like a major like game changer in your life. And then
Yeah.
you go through and you work out the details of like all the steps you think that would have to go into making that thing happen.
Yeah. And I imagine that some of those that you've set out for the 6 month time period might actually help you reach maybe your 3 year goal or your 1 year goal too.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And it's always interesting to me to look at them when I'm done, because it's like when you sit down with the mindset of like, okay, I'm just going to let whatever comes go down on the paper without judgment, without like editing it.
Yeah.
The editing part comes later. But if you just sit down and let it flow, like I could be anything, do anything,
What would I do?
go anywhere, what would I do? Who would I be? What's possible? Well, anything's possible.
Mhm.
So it's really truly amazing what come is staring back at you
Mhm.
on the
Yeah,
paper.
I think that's a really beautiful thing to let go of. I think sometimes our adult mind comes into play and we overthink things, and just bringing it back to really, like you said, things you can achieve things that you might not even have thought. Like owning a home is a big goal for so many people.
Yep.
And doing that might seem crazy when you're 21 right out of college, but if you know that's something that you want to do, by the time, yeah, maybe you're 30, like, how do you get there? How do you, and yeah, this,
Yeah, it can seem like there's so much in the way, right? Our brain, like you said, our adult brain, it comes up, it's really, really good at shooting us down. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And so actually using this method of brainstorming is how I was like, oh, I guess I do really want to go back to school and get my master's degree. And that was about 3 years ago. And now I have my master's degree and I'm in private practice and I love my new career. It's everything I've wanted it to be. It's beautiful and I'm so happy with it. And I wouldn't be here if I hadn't taken that time to like for those 5 minutes sit down and truly write down whatever came to me of what I might want for my life.
yeah, yeah. And like we had mentioned, that sometimes life gets in the way and you might get set back a little bit. And that's okay. That those details that you put in are important, but not so important that you should abandon all hope. Like that's not happening. No reason to do that.
Yep. It's giving ourselves grace, right? So
Mhm.
you are a human, I'm a human being, things happen, life happens, COVID, illness, awful things happen every day, really great things happen every day too.
Yeah. Who would
And
have thought that a
right?
year ago, even that 2020 would be what it was? But yes, you can still achieve things. You might have to change them. You might need to pivot, which again can be exhausting. But like you said, just that give yourself grace to make mistakes. We're
Yep.
human.
Give yourself give yourself grace. That means telling yourself that it's okay and stopping the judgmental thoughts that often come with our emotions. Our emotions are just emotions. They are not good, bad, right, wrong. They just are. And it's we who prescribes a meaning to them and an action to them.
Yeah.
So allowing yourself to feel whatever it is you're feeling about where you are in life right now and what goals you might have and what things are coming at you, and then moving through them, providing yourself with some good self-care, however you like to do that, taking a hot bath, going for a walk, reading a book, all those things, right?
Yeah. I think that's so important, and I think that that is what separates kind of our conversation today versus something else that you might listen to. Um, and
About hitting those goals hard, man. Don't
yeah,
give up. Because really we don't it's about getting back up, right? Like it's it's the difference between oh saying that, oh, I'm going to go to the gym 3 days every week. And that first time you miss going to the gym, that one day being like, oh, there goes that goal. All done. I guess I failed. You didn't fail. You just didn't
yeah,
go that day. It's
yeah.
okay.
It's okay. Yeah,
No
it's
big deal.
okay. No big deal. tomorrow's a new day. And just remember not to get discouraged that maybe you miss a week, a whole week.
Yeah.
That's okay. You can still start back up again. You don't have to throw it all away just because you might have missed something.
Yep. Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Kirsten. Was there anything else that you would like to, any tips, tricks? We have talked about our accountability partner, giving ourselves grace. That I love the idea, the brainstorming idea, setting a 5-minute timer and just letting ourselves dream and
Yes.
go. Yeah,
That childlike mind, right?
yes.
Like
I
you
think
can
we can
dream
all
for
commit to
5 minutes. It's okay.
exactly. Yeah.
I don't really have anything else. It's just really make sure ask yourself every day, what am I going to do nice for myself today? What's one small thing I can do nice for myself today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, one last thing that I want to ask you is not related at all to the topic today. So just wanted to know what your favorite type of ice cream is, what your favorite flavor, or maybe you have a favorite sundae that you like.
I would have to say Ben and Jerry's. They make it's a non-dairy one. It's like cookies and it's so good.
Is cookies and
It's cookies and chocolate. I think it's like peanut vanilla ice cream with like big like swaths of peanut butter and like Oreo cookies in it or something. Like,
oh
oh,
yeah,
it's
talk about self-care. Yeah, sometimes you might not go to the gym and you just want to eat a little Ben and Jerry's.
yeah,
I mean,
and
it's
binge
okay.
Netflix.
I think we've all done a little bit of that.
For
Well,
sure.
thank you so much again, Kirsten. And again, Kirsten's with Life Support LLC. It's off of 5 Mile in Plainfield, in Grand Rapids, I think technically still. Yep. Yeah. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Do you want to stop?